Good morning. A short time ago, we received the news that a jury found Nichole Rice not guilty of the murder of Anita Knutson. Our reporter Joe Skrzyszewski is standing by in Grand Forks outside the courtroom now. Let's go to him. Joe.
Yeah, good morning, Monica. Quite the morning here at the Grand Forks County Courthouse. Not guilty, the verdict brought forth by the jury against Nichole Erin Rice in the 2007 killing of Anita Knutson, her roommate, in their shared apartment at the time. Now, this comes after the jury deliberated for a little over 4 hours yesterday, and then probably, looking at my clock here, probably about, I'd say, an hour and a half, give or take, today. So they came back with their not guilty verdict. If we go back to the closing arguments, I want to go back to that yesterday. We heard the state lay out what they thought was their case with regards to the evidence that they had, saying that it pointed towards Nichole Rice as the suspect in this case, as the perpetrator, her changing stories, the evidence surrounding evidence she might have known and admitted to people leading up to that. Then when we got to the defense and their closing arguments, it was a fiery critique, to say the least, of the state and the prosecution's case against Ms. Rice, questioning, whether they had read the complete report, as well as questioning, the facts leading up to the case, the involvement of the television show Cold Justice, and so forth. I think the walls were rattling in the courtroom. I was telling one of the other reporters here during the defense's closing arguments. So we had a feeling that deliberations were going to spill into the second day, but I was a little surprised, I guess, that it came back this quickly. I'll bring our viewers into the moment that, if you were watching the stream, the moment that the verdict was read, there were a lot of emotions pouring into that. The members of the Rice family were very emotional when they were walking into the courtroom. A lot of them were fighting back tears, not knowing what the fate of Nichole would be. And of course, the Knutson family was emotional as well. I would say maybe a little more stoic than the Rice family, given the circumstances. But when the verdict was read, there was a huge uproar of cheer on the Rice side of the courtroom, including from her lead attorney, Rick Sand, and his brother, and De'Ara Daigle, their team. They jumped up and slapped hands and gave one another a big hug. And everyone on the Rice side of the courtroom was cheering and thanking God. It really showed just how divisive this case was. I mean, if you go on social media, I've been talking with some of the other news covering this case. If you go on social media, you see the comments on all sides of the spectrum on, well, I think she was guilty. I think she was innocent. I don't think the jury's going to be able to come back with a verdict. It was really all over the spectrum, and it was quite a sort of a social experiment, if nothing else, for this state, this case. Obviously, the Knutson family, not the answer that they wanted in this case, but at least they have, at this point, an answer. There will be some questions, though, obviously, that are going to be raised from the state's end of things with regards to, the filing of reports of the alleged confessions, the fact that there wasn't documentation of the two alleged confessions that the state brought forth earlier in this case, the fact that they're not going to, that they couldn't corroborate that with a paper trail. The investigation into the Minot Police Department, if that factored into the jury at all. One thing here is we weren't really able to get any reaction after this, unfortunately. We asked Ms. Rice if she wanted to comment. She said no. We asked, we weren't able to track down the jurors, and her attorney's team didn't want to comment either. They might comment at a later time. We asked Chris Nelson, one of the prosecutors, if he wanted to comment, and they said not at this time. They weren't going to comment. So it kind of feels like all of the sides at this time don't want to say anything. I would assume Ms. Rice probably wants to move on with her life, and I don't think that the Knutson family wants to comment at this time just yet either. Monica?
All right, well, thanks a lot, Joe. And we will have complete coverage coming up on all of our later newscasts today, but for now, we'll send it back to regular programming.